Gefach all, and we're up to Yud Beis, Amid Beis, about 10 lines up. 11, make it 11, Tan Rabbanan. We're discussing that the Kohen Gadol has a replacement Kohen Gadol, right? We went through the sugya, at which point in time is he replaced? If it's before the Tamid, then he's mechunich with the Eight Begadim. If it's afterwards, then we had two pshatim. He's either mechunich by putting on the Eight Begadim and turning over a piece of the Karmen Tamid, or a papa's pshat that the act of chinuch itself will go ahead and be mechanechem. Exactly. Now, once the psul is done and the kohen gets better, what's the status of the interment kohen, the second kohen? What's his status? That's the machloikas at here. Tan Rabbanan, Iraboy psul. A psul happens to the kohen gadol. Uminu acher tachtov. You appoint one in his place, and now the first one, the psul is gone. He's better. Let's say it was a mum. The mum is over. He was a balkari. He's tahar now. So whatever caused him to be displaced is now corrected. Rishon chaysel avodas, the first one gets his job back, and sheni kol mitzvahs kahuna gedola alav. And the second one, he's a kohen gadol. In other words, he's a kohen gadol. He could do the avodah. He has a din of a kohen gadol as well. Rabbi Yosi yomer rishon chaysel avodas. The first one gets his job back. However, the sheni is kind of stuck. He's kind of in limbo. He's not right to be the kohen gadol, and he's not right to be the kohen hedyot, as we'll see. Rabbi Yosi, Ma'aseh b'Yosef ben Elam mit Sipurei, changed the gersa from the town of Sipurei. She'ira a psul b'kohen gadol, that it happened that psul was b'kohen gadol. We know tachtav, they appointed him in his place. V'yom chachamim rishon chayzel avedasai. And sheni ein roy lo kohen gadol kohen hedyot. So we have a ma'isa that substantiates the shita of Rabbi Yosi. Now, what? That the second kohen is in limbo. He's not a kohen gadol. He's not a kohen hedyot. Kohen gadol. Why is he not a kohen gadol? Mishum eva, because of jealousy, hatred that the first kohen or the second they might have to each other, right? And kohen hedyot. Why is he not a kohen hedyot? Because mishum ma'alim b'kodesh le'maridin. Once he's served in the job of kohen gadol, we can't downgrade him. But Kodshem Mylin, we always upgrade. V'lei Maridin, we don't downgrade, so we can't make him into a kohen hedyot. So I saw a nice pshat. Reb Meir obviously holds he still remains a kohen gadol. Why isn't he worried about Eva? Because he says that the Kahanim, they go to Kahanim Gedolim, they had the midas of Aaron HaKoyin. I get at least in the Bayis Rishon. The midas of Aaron, Oyev Shalom, Roidev Shalom, Oyev Sabirah, Makarim on the Torah. So they would not be what? They would not be jealous of each other. Again, at least in the first bias. The second bias, unfortunately, we saw they're very, very different, that they were not the nicest people in the world. Amar Rav Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rav Chana in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, says Rav Chana in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Aleph, Hilchas like Rabbi Yosi. The halach is like Rabbi Yosi. The halach is like Rabbi Yosi, that the second kohen who goes down, he's nishtahi and nishtaheri. He's not a kohen gadol. He's not a kohen hedyot. Frek toises a gavaldik kasha. Tema top toises. Hilchas al l'mishicha. The chiyai gavna parach b'zvachim. Beperek beishamai. Beperek daled misais. Fellas, when you say the halacha, when you paskin the halacha somebody, it means it's halacha l'maisa. We don't have a beis hamikdash. So, but the name of Rabbi Yosi, there was no Beis Hamikdash. So, why are they paskening that the halacha is like Rabbi Yosi vis-a-vis a kohen gadol? It's a hilchos of the Mashiach. It's only noigeya when Mashiach comes. It's not noigeya now bisman hazeh. So it's not noigeya bisman hazeh. Why are we coming up with a psak? Why do you have to go ahead and say who the halacha is like? There's no nafkamin in halacha. You can't do it. And for Toisus, listen, look, let's see Toisus teretz. V'yesh leimar the ikar nafkamina afilu bisman hazeh. Leparnes hamemuna alat tzibur, a leader of a generation, someone who was put in charge of power, and for over machmas oinis, and he was taken down for whatever reason. Shekashe over oinis, when the reason that he was taken down is gone, chayzel l'shvarasa, he goes back to his state of being in charge. So in other words, we're learning a dugma from kohen gadol. Not that it's halacha in the din of kohen gadol, it's a din in a position of a high place. That just like a person who's taken down from a high place for whatever reason the kohen gadol gets his job back, who are in future generations where there's no kohen gadol, nonetheless he has a position of power, he's restored. That's one of the terutzim. Rav Yehuda Amarav. Umayda Rabbi Yossi Shem Avar. Umayda Rabbi Yossi top line. Umayda Rabbi Yossi Shem Avar. If the second kohen, who is not a kohen god, not a kohen head yet, does the avodah, the avad avodah kashera, his avodah would be kosher. So he's not a kohen god, he's not a kohen head yet, but if he would do it, since he had done the avodah before, his avodah would be kosher, provided, guys, he wears the correct begadim. I'm Rav Yehuda Marav halach Rav Yossi. The halach is like Rav Yossi in this din as well, that if the kohen gadol who's taken down, the kohen gadol sheni does the avodah, it's kosher. If the first coin dies, that the second one comes back. Even though while the first coin is alive, he's a state in a suspended animation. He's not a coin gadol, he's not a coin head yet. Once the first coin gadol dies, he becomes a coin gadol. Says no pshita. What's the chiddush? So Madutema havelate tzara mechayim. I might think he's considered like a tzara mechayim. I think the fact that there was Ava around when he was alive, and therefore it would stop him from being a kohen gadol after the death of the first one. Kamash Malon, once the guy dies, the first kohen, he is dead. We go ahead and we make him another wife, just like you put a substitute kohen gadol in case something happens. We put a substitute wife in case something happens. Fred Gemara, Rabbanan Nami Hachayesh L'Shema. Clearly, Rabbi Yehuda's chayiv Shema, the wife is going to die. You can't tell me the Chachamim are not worried about Shema because they're misakning a kohen gadol Shema that'll become puzzle. So you see, they are suspicious of a potential problem. So you're worried about a potential problem. So just like Rabbi Yehuda is worried potentially about needing a wife and providing one, the Chachamim also provided what? A second kohen in case of tumah. So why do they disagree with Rabbi Yehuda that you can't have a second wife? Once you're worried about the future, be concerned about the wife also. Why did the Chachamim argue by the wife and not by tumah? So Amalach Rabbanon, tumah shchicha, misa lo shchicha. Tumah is gan shayach and misa is not shayach. They were trying to bring in a Gemara in Yavamis regarding two Yavamis and when you're chayish lemisa, because that's misa over a period of time. When it says you're not chayish lemisa, guys, it means pitzlung. Punkt this date, the chayish that you only need a wife for this one day. The chiper bado bad beso, you only need one day, right? And so therefore, for that one day, I'm not chayish. For death over a 3-month period, a 4-month period, that I am worried about. But for one day, that I'm not going to worry about that. Vashenkin Tumah, even for that one day, you have to worry what's going to be. The kohen come again. So many ways to come Tumah. Someone could speak to him, and Amoritz can pet spittle upon him. This lav dafka carry. There's other ways that the kohen can go ahead and be metama and override his ability to do the avodah. So in that case, therefore, you worry. So. Amrulai, they told Rabbi Yehuda, if you worry, Rabbi Yehuda, you're worried about what? About death. There's no end in sight. If you're worried about death, there's no end in sight. You got to worry. So Rabbi Yehuda. They told Rabbi Yehuda, very good. Once you're worried, yeah, you're worried. He says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Amalach Lamisa dechada chashinan. Lamisa detati loy chashinan. You want to know the difference why in l'davasayf? I worry about one person dying. I don't worry about 2 people dying. And therefore, I provide one wife. I don't provide more because, again, to say that the first wife is going to die and say the second wife is going to die, that I provide a third one, that would require 2 people dying. For one person dying, the one that's married to him, I am worried. And therefore, I'll provide another one. For those 2 dying, I'm not worried, and therefore I don't have to provide a third. So that you said to me, Ein L'Dav is safe, you should provide a 4th one, a 5th one, 6th one, I disagree with you in theory, because again, I'm chayish for 1, I'm not chayish for more than that. Fred the Gemara, Rabbanon Ikal Mechesh Afilu Misa the Trei Chashinan, right? And the Rabbanon hold once you're chayish for Misa, for 1, 2, what's the difference? In other words, Chachamim hold guys Misa is l'shchicha that day, correct? So they don't do a numbers thing. They say the following. If you're worried about 1 dying, that suspicion, that worry should transcend numbers. It should be no matter how many. Again, I'm not chayish misa that one day. I hold you don't have to be talking to another wife. You hold do, and I'm asking Ein L'Dav is safe. Why? You worried about numbers? Says with Chachamim, no. if you're worried about this remote chance of this one person dying, it doesn't stop by one. That remote chance will apply to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ain't l'davar soif. That's the svarim machlokes between what Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. Fred Gemara Rabbanon Neimnu Inul Nafshayu. The Rabbanon, since they're worried, Lamechesh Chashina, right? Let's worry about Tumah as well. Guys, in other words, we should have to provide more than one kohen. The same kasha, we're reversing the kasha. The Chachamim, you're not worried about death, but you are worried about what? About Tumah. So why do you only provide one kohen to take his place? Maybe just like the original kohen can come tamei, the second kohen also can come tamei. So maybe you have to have a third kohen. In other words, once you're chayish, let's go ahead and say Rabbi Yehuda. The chachamim like Tumah is like Rabbi Yehuda. Let's provide more. In other words, you're saying ein l'davar soif when you're chayish. So therefore, you and yourself, by misa that you're not chayish for, you're not worried at all. By Tumah you're chayish. If you're chayish, then and you're saying ein l'davar soif, so you should be chayiv what? You should be not chayiv, but you would have to require to provide more than one kohen, 2 kohen, 3 and 4. Ain't l'davar soif. So why do you provide even one kohen? Samich Rabbanon, kohen gadol zaris who? Kohen gadol is zaris. He's very careful. By misa, which is not in your hands, right? You can't be so careful. Masha enkein by tumah, which is in your hands, to be careful. The kohen gadol is very, very careful. And since the kohen gadol is very careful, we don't have to worry what about tumah, about another kohen. We don't have to worry about another kohen. Fred Gemara Kasha. Since he's such a zariz, why are you even providing one? In other words, you're telling me why you don't provide a whole slew of kahanim. It's because this kohen is so zahir. He's so careful. If you're so careful, why are you providing a second kohen? Don't provide any kohen. On that, Gemara answers, Kivin avdinalet Sarah. Once you put a rival in there, kol shekain the mizaris tfei, pirish. If you have. You're pitching the game and there's a guy in the bullpen and you look around and the guy's warming up quick. You better get your act together because this guy's about to come in, right? So in Mela, you got to be a little more focused. So this, I think, I don't know why I said that, Sushla. Maybe it's the Millers. I'm looking at 2 eyeballs at 2 Millers. Anyway, so the kohen, if you're going to provide him another kohen that's going to take his place in Yom Kippur, then guaranteed he's going to be very, very zaris. So therefore, it was zaris tefei. Okay, now, guys, we get into very,
Isn't it interesting? No one says anything about age. Like they don't say, if the Kohen's over 50, we should get a substitute.
I think he has to retire at a certain age. But I think we're not chayish for him dying. Usually as a chaylim. Usually a person's sick before he dies. You get a heads up. See, that's really why this other kohen, you'll have a chance to be mechanech him. You get a heads up. It's not like a guy just drops dead. Usually that's not, we're not worried about. We're worried about him, becoming a chayli, and you'll see that process, taking place.
Right.
Now the Gemara goes into very, very intricate. Exactly how are you providing a second wife for him? And this is based upon the following. It says, "V'chiper ba'ado u'ba'ad beiso." He's mechap for himself and his house, meaning he needs a wife. The Gemara guy says one wife, beiso, not 2 wives. So that creates a problem. If you're going to be mekadesh the second wife, he'll have 2 wives. How do we oververt the problem? In other words, how do we have him providing him kippur with what? With 2 wives, but only 1 wife, right? In other words, you need it can't be that he marries her. It can't be that easiest way out, guys. Listen to this lumdis. The easiest way would be the following. He's married to 1 woman. You get another woman ready. If the first one dies, the first wife dies, let him be Mekadesh. Let him be Mekadesh, the second one on Yom Kippur. What are you going to say? What's the reason you don't get married, fellas? It's because of, it looks like business. You're making a kinyan on Shabbos or Yontif. That's the Rabbanon, Shvus. We have a big rule, guys. Ein shvus b'migdash. Ein migdash kol gedolim hizu. So therefore, the possibility should exist that why can't you do that? So why can't you mekadesh of ein shvus b'migdash? Okay. And what are you going to say? Yes.
That's got nothing to do with the Migdash, though. That Shavuos is nothing to do with the Migdash, nothing to do with Kalim or anything like that.
I think it has ein Migdash Gedolim Yizud. I think it has tremendous. I don't think you're limited. Shvus b'migdash refers to the avodah as well, not just kalim, not just the cheftza, the gavra as well. The din applies, the gavra as well. So therefore, l'chari you should be able to get. Why can't you get if ain't shvus b'migdash? And why are you going to say that? So the Rambam Shita is that how could you mekadesha? You need a kedushin shemasurin labia. You need a kedushin that what you're that if you mekadesh a woman when she's a nida and there's no chuppah nida, it doesn't work according to the Rambam. It's no kedushin. So over here you can't go ahead and you won't be able to go ahead. It's Yom Kippur. You won't be able to live with her. So there are issues here and ways out of it. But the Gemara, that's just a zaytik discussion. The Gemara is going to go into this discussion. How is it possible to have two women, but marry to only one of them? Now, as a hakdama, guys, we're speaking about the following: two women and three possibilities. One, they both live. Two, one dies. Three, the other dies. We're not going to take to the possibility that both die. That already is off the table. We're not chayish for two again. We're not. Rabbi Huda is not chayish for two. He's only chayish for one. Correct, as we just said. So again, you have woman A and B. The two possibilities: A and B both live. A dies and B lives, or B dies and A lives. Those are the three possibilities. This is based upon the Ritva, and that's the introduction to the sugya. Says the Gemara. Umi sagile b'takanta. Is it enough to go ahead and make a takana, meaning just prepare her? Beso rachmana v'havlach besahi. To have her ready there, you need her to be a wife, and she's not a wife. And for Gemara, the mekadshalah, Mekadesh, Rashi says she's mekadesh her on erev Yom Kippur. She's mekadesh her before Yom Kippur. Fred Gemara for kamad loikonis law lav besahi. Unless he has a chuppah, it's not considered besai. Says Mordekanis law. So he had a chuppah as well. So now he has two wives. So apparently you have no problem. Fred Gemara, what do you mean you don't have a problem? In Cain, Havile Shnei Batim, you have two houses. Rachmana Aman, the Torah says, the Chiper Ba'ado Uba'ad Beiso, one house, not two houses. V'loi Ba'ad Shnei Batim. So l'chayra, you got a logistical problem. Rabbi Yehuda, you're providing another wife, correct? The reason for providing the other wife is to ensure that there will be a beso. But by you providing the other wife, in fact, you're negating the first wife because you're making two batim and not one. So what are you doing over here? And for the Gemara, the Hadam Megarishla, he divorces the second wife. For the Gemara, then you have the problem. You only have one wife. Says Gemara, like Sricha the Megarishla tonight. Okay, he's Megarisher on a condition. The rest of the daf, most of it is going to be figuring out what this condition is. And again, three possibilities. A and B both live, A dies, or B dies. Those are the three possibilities. The Amallah, he says the following. This is your get. This is your get. Almanas shetemusi, on the condition that you die. Okay, this is your get on the condition that you die. Now, Rashi points out we're leading up to a maskana that we know the answer to, and we're just going ahead and trying different ways. The Gemara doesn't have charata. It doesn't say ella, ella, ella. Ella usually means that they haven't complete charata. It means is we're developing the proof. So go step by step. The first step, he tells the woman, let's say he tells woman B, he's got one wife, A. He tells woman B, listen, this is your get on the condition, right, that you die. Good, that's your get. So now, Vidilma loy maisa, maybe she won't die. Ella de amala harizekitech almanash shaloi temusi. This is your get that you won't die. Now, Eloi mesa migarishla. If she doesn't die, right, then she's divorced. V'imesa, and if she does die, ha kaimahach. So l'chayru, you have a very good. You got a workaround over here. You got a good workaround, right? You're going to go ahead and say this is your get on the condition that you don't die. So if she doesn't die, he only has one wife, and if she dies, he only has one wife. You worked it around, right? Either way, he wins. Says more v'dilma hilay mesa, right? She won't die. V'havi gita, the high gita, umayis chavirasa, and the first wife that you're trying to go ahead and protect dies. Become labelay bias, and you won't have any wife. In other words, you told the second wife, listen, this is your get on manas that you don't die. So miman of shach. If she dies, only one wife. If she doesn't die, only one wife. Fred Gemara, good. Well, good. Let's say she doesn't die. But let's say the first one does die. Then he doesn't have any base site. Got a problem. Ella do amala al menashe tamus achas mikem. He gives the second wife a get on the condition that one of his wife A or B dies. So he's always giving the get to B, and the condition is always going to B. But now the condition is on both. I'm giving the get to B, and I'm saying to B, this is your get, provided that what? That one of you die. Now, Misa, Dovi Gelbstein. Dovi Gelbstein. Now, this is really past your bedtime. Says the Gemara, Misa, Dovi Gelbstein? Dovi, can you hear me? I got to make sure you've got to the place. This kid is in 6th grade. Dovi Gelbstein, are you there? Hey, Dovi. Dovi Gelbstein, can you hear me? Okay, forget it. Anyway, so now, so he gives the get to B and says on the condition that one of you die.
Oh God.
If one dies, right? If one dies, Dovi, we're up to Yud Gimel on the base, about 5 Amid Aleph, about 5 lines from the bottom. Now, if one of them Misaha, if one dies, Kaimahach, Misahach, Kaimaha. So apparently you have a good workaround over here. Fredmar Vidilmo Loy Maisa, Loy Chadaminayu, neither dies, you'll have 2 wives. V'od, Ki Hai Gavna Mi Have Gita, if with this condition, is this a good get? V'Amarava, Harizakitech Almanash Loy Tishti Yayin Kol Yemei Chayai. This is your get on the condition that you don't drink wine all the days of my life, or your life. Ain't that krisis? Why? Because she is tied to him the whole life. In other words, the get has to have the possibility, guys outside. In order for a Tanayim get to work, it has to be the possibility that she's alive after the Tanai is fulfilled. If she's not alive after the Tanai is fulfilled, then she's bound to a husband, and it's not a safer krisis. The Torah calls a get a safer krisis. The chasavla safer krisis, the nasam biyada. He gives her a book, krisis that cuts the kedushin. If she's bound to him the whole life, that's not a krisis. So this is a get on manas that you die. That's not a good get. That's not a good get. However, you could say this is your get. Pliny of such and such, how is a krisis? Why? Because if Pliny dies, she'll have time to marry afterwards. So this is another. So 2 reasons this is not a good get. 1, maybe they won't both die and will have 2 wives. Or 2, the Tanai is flawed in the first place. Ella da amala harizekite chamenas shaloi toimus. This is your get. Shaloi toimus charvei ticha. This is your get now, not on you. He's giving the get to B, but he's saying it's a get that your A won't die. This is your get that A won't die. Ilai misa chaverta megarsha. If the A doesn't die, she's divorced. V'i mesa ha, and if A does die, right? If A does die, hakaima ha. Then what? Then she's around. Says that maybe she'll die b'palga. And now it shows that it was a get. Vigloy milsa l'mafreya dekita hu have, that it was a get. L'mafreya dekita deha lav kita hu, that the get to be was not a good get. For overly avoid the b'shnei batim. In other words, what's the Tanai? The Tanai is this is you get almanas that the first one doesn't die. But if the first one dies, that means that what? That it wasn't a get. If it wasn't a get, so he did the avoida, the first part of the avoida with two wives. That your friend does die. The Dilma Mayas Chaverta shall die. The come label bias. So now, if the first one dies and it's a good get, that means he has no wife. So now, guys, we've exhausted any Tanai of one get. Guys, until now, here's what we did. Guys, please look at me. We'll just chazariba. We had two wives, A and B. We said we went first. Every Tanai is in B. So the first Tanai was whether B would die, or not die. Then we went the other direction. Whether A would die, the get is given a Tanai to B, whether A would die or won't die. Now we're saying no, there's two Tanaim. There's going to be Tanai B and Tanai A. And we're going to work out a Tanai that works around and would allow this person to, in fact, be a wife and not have a problem of two houses. That's what we needed in the first place. So now, here's the workaround. Ella, the Megarish Lulu Travayu, he divorces both A and B. Not just B, he divorces A and B. This is your get on the condition that your friend does not die. This is your get on that she doesn't die. This is your get on the condition that you don't walk into the base Knesset. In other words, if you don't walk in, it's not a get. If you walk in, it's a good get. If you walk in, it's a good get. Fred Gemara, maybe the friend won't die. She won't die, and therefore what? That would be then. This is you get. She don't die. And she won't go into the base Knesset. In other words, this is your get almanas that you don't enter don't enter. And mashma, if she does enter, it's a good get. I'm lost for a second. One more time. Amalai says, this is your get almanas that your friend doesn't die. So as long as your friend doesn't die, it's a good get. And the other one says, this is your get almanas that you shouldn't enter the basic Knesset. But if you don't enter the basic Knesset, then what? Then it's not a good get. Your friend won't die. And the come lay below bias. And what are you going to say? Tell her to go into the basic Knesset, force her in. So Taisa says that the Ritva says that Smashma, she has to go in Baratzen, not by you forcing her. Says the Gemara. Here's the final answer, guys. This is your get on the condition that your friend does not die. This is your get on manas that I don't go into basic Knesset. If the first one dies, and the first one dies, if he's going to see that she's going to die, let him go into the base Knesset, and the one that'll be a get, and it'll end up with what? With one wife. Now you're telling me that Beisai is mashma one. So let's say your brother has two wives. And they fall to you. And now it says that he doesn't want to be hakim bias Yisrael. He doesn't by chalitza. He says he doesn't want to bring a bias Yisrael. He doesn't want to base Yisrael. He doesn't want to go ahead and raise the base Yisrael. So base means one. So how can you pass it before Yibam on two wives that came from the house? Bias means one. That's the Lashon Chalitza is one, only one. And here you're telling me that what? He has two wives. So how could you ever do Yibam on one who has two wives? Bias means only one. On that Gemara answers, it says Yevimta, Yevimta. The pasuk says Yevimta, Yevimta more than once. It says it twice. Riboy, that what? That even if he has more than one Yevama, you can perform Yibam. Maskal Ravina, Vitem Rav Shriva, Alamiyata, Arusa Loitis Yabem. Arusa is not bias. Guys, why did the Gemara say you need chuppah? And Arusa is just kedushin. It says you need more than kedushin to be the wife of a kohen. So, Fred the Gemara, another question: how can you go ahead and tell me Arusa loitis yabem? Arusa is not bias, and it says me'ein yuvami. My yuvami does not want to be lahakim bias. He wasn't. So, how can let's say a man gets mekadesh a woman, they never live together. The man consequently dies. The Arusa falls to him. All of us who learn Masech Yivamis know that she needs chalitza because there was kedushin. Since she's not biased, why would you need chalitza? When it says chutza, it says leiseitza isha chutza should not go to a man outside. The Rabbi says arusa. This would include arusa. Okay. Tanrabanan, kohen gadol makriv oinen. The kohen gadol is makriv as an oinen. If the kohen gadol loses this week's parsha, right? Achim Moshe ben Aaron. A kohen gadol leiseitza min abayis. He doesn't leave the bias. He is makriv as an oinen. However, he can't eat the food as an oinen. He didn't eat the food. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu got angry when they burnt the chatas of Rosh Chodesh Nisan by the Muluyim. He got angry. Why didn't you eat it? You had a waiver for Aninus. And they answered, we had a waiver for Aninus for the special kabbanis of the Muluyim. We didn't have a waiver for Aninus for what? For the one that's constant. And Moshe agreed. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kol Hayom. Rabbi Yehuda says an ambiguous statement. He says the kohen gadol is Aninus Kol Hayom. What does it mean Kol Hayom? To bring him from his house, if the Kohen Gadol went ahead and he lost to a relative and he went home, we'll bring him back from his house in order to do the Avodah. That means Kol Hayom, the whole day. Rabbi Yehuda says by a Kohen Hedyet, we take him down, right? You're going to go ahead and bring this guy in. The Tanya, if a kohen head was doing the avodah, and he hears that a mace that is chayv misabel, one of the relatives, he dies. He leaves the avodah and he leaves. The Rabbi Yehuda, he finishes the avodah. So we see that Rabbi Yehuda is machmir by a kohen hedyet, not to allow him to finish the avodah. Rabbi Yossi is mekel, we allow him to finish the avodah. Fred the Gemara, my sin and lay mitach beisai. You see that Rabbi Yehuda is makbid by Aninus, that what to take him down. You're telling me you're going to bring him from the house? That can't be the pshat when it said Kol Hayom. It can't be. Rabbi Yehuda is a machmir. Kol Hayom doesn't make sense that you bring him back. Because you see by Kohen Head, you take him down. It doesn't make sense to say you're going to bring him in to do the Avodah if you're going to stop him from doing the Avodah. Elo Amar Rava, my Kol Hayom, what's pshat in that ambiguous statement, Rabbi Yehuda Kol Hayom, Amar Aleph, Loimar, She'ena Oivid Kol Hayom, he doesn't work the whole day until night. Now, even though Aninus is permitted, we don't let him do it. We're worried he's going to come to eat, and he can't eat. He could work, he can't eat. But where he's working, we're going to put him down so he shouldn't come to eat. Is he guys and maybe you will come to eat for Tanan? We're going to learn like we learned before. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Af Isha Acheres Misakinan Loi, Shema Thomas Ishtoi. Now, guys, if his wife dies, he's an oinen, right? The Imayas Ishtoi Avid Avoida, V'legozer Rabbi Yehuda, Shema Yochel. He's an oinen, guys. He lost his wife. And nonetheless, Rabbi Yehuda says that why he's going to do the Avoida. Why aren't you worried about a meeting? It's an obvious answer. It's Yom Kippur, guys. What are you worried about? It's Yom Kippur. Says the Gemara. Amalei Hachi Hashta Hasam over there. Kivin the Yom Kippurim who the Kuli Amalei Ka'achli no one eats. Who Namilei Asilamechel. He also won't come to eat. But Hacha over here, the Kuli Alma Achli that everyone's eating. Who Nami Asilamechel. He will come to eat. Fred the Gemara v'chi Hai Gavna Michael Aloha Aninos. In that place there's no Aninis. But Migarsha. Guys, we said in the Gemara that he divorced this woman by going into the Beis Knesset. That was the case, right? The case was if the first one gets sick, he made a condition that she's divorced if he walks into the Beis Knesset. So he's walking to the Beis Knesset. So they were never married. If they were never married, so there was no need in the first place. So just a question not on the pshat, but what are you asking what are you asking from there? He wasn't a noinain over there because they were divorced. And for the Gemara, the aninus like chal, a good aninus is not chal, a true demilim mitrid. Guys, this is not a case of a guy getting divorced that dislikes his wife. This is a case of logistics of making him do the avodah. He's going to lose his wife based on a workaround of lumdis, right? Of course, he's going to be thinking about his ex-wife, not his dead wife, who's now his dead gerusha. But it's not a real gerusha, so to say. It's halachically gerusha, but it's not a gerusha that we think about, that he's not going to be torrid. And to do the avodah, it has to be l'mashcha, it has to be with happiness and simcha, and therefore he won't be able to do it.
Thank you.
Everyone has.
Have a good